What's going on, everybody? This is Moulton's Mind and Body. I am your host, Jeff Moulton. I'd like to thank you for tuning back in. We have a really special guest coming on today. Someone I go way back with, about 5 years now. We originally met down at Springfield College. And someone that I've honestly seen eye to eye on a lot of things with, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to have him on the show. He was grateful enough to meet me down at Springfield, so we're going to have him on today. I'd like to welcome on to the show Nate Kingsley. Well,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Happy to be here.
And it's been something we talked about for a little while now, and I think this is a great opportunity to kind of get to know you a little bit better and let everyone know kind of some things going on in your life, and I just appreciate him coming on. My
very interesting life.
Your very interesting life. A lot of things going on.
The overstatement of 2019, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a lot of things going on, especially in the last few months, and the first thing I kind of want to talk about is kind of like we met at Springfield, and I think, originally we had plans to do specific things, and I think if you don't mind just telling everyone kind of...
Vastly changed.
Vastly. So if you don't mind telling everyone, we met at Springfield, kind of briefly what you did at Springfield, and then kind of,
What year did you come here? Because you came here after 2 years. Right?
So I came here 14 to 16.
14 to 16, yeah, so I was a sophomore then.
Okay, so we kind of met in the exercise science program around that time.
Yeah.
And then over the next few years, got to know each other a little bit better. For me, I ended up...
Really after graduation.
Yeah, we didn't talk that much. I mean, we had Dr. O'Neill's class together,
yeah.
and things like that. And then my direction, obviously, I went more of like general pop, once I left Springfield. I know initially I thought you were going more of a strength conditioning side of it.
Yeah, and I thought so too, but as soon as I had like a very transformative meeting with Dr. Headley, of all people, my freshman
Dr.
year.
Headley. See,
yeah.
I never saw eye to eye him on a lot of things.
Well, he was forced to meet with me. I don't know if he particularly liked me, but he was my counselor.
Okay.
Like guidance guy.
Sure.
So I had to meet with him twice a year. So
with that meeting, what was that transformation meeting like, or what was the what was transformative about it?
Well, I came to Springfield like barely, at least in my mind, like I barely got in. Like my SAT scores and stuff were decent, but my grades were like absolute shit. And then I came here, and for my first 2 semesters, I had like very good grades, but like I still thought of myself as like, oh, I'm just like a clown, and like I'm not that smart. I came here because I was like, oh, I like lifting weights. Like I'm gonna go be a strength coach. That'd be sweet. Like I love the people that come to the gyms, even if they're gym pop, athletes, whatever. And then I get into this meeting. He's like, hey, like you're doing something that not everyone else is doing in terms of like grades and the classes that you're taking and stuff. And I was like, I'm just like genuinely interested in this type of shit. And he's like, hey, like you should genuinely consider medical school.
Really?
Yeah, so I was like, okay. So he hooked me up with Dr. Healy. Okay. Dr. Healy was this woman. She was the sweetest woman. I like thought of her like a grandmother. She was like 82 years old. If she's not that old, I'm very sorry. I'm just assuming.
She's really 65, but that's okay.
She was literally here from like, I think, 1885.
Yeah.
But she was still kicking. She had like sharp as a friggin' whip. And she was the sports bio chair or whatever. So then I met with her because she was the guidance counselor for the pre-med students. So there was like a pre-med club and stuff. So I went and met with her, and then I had this conversation with Headley, and I was just like, dude, what? Like doctors are smart people. Like I'm just kind of an asshole. And he's like, no, like you should really genuinely think about this. So I started doing that, looked more into it. Obviously you get a little bit of a confidence boost there.
Sure.
Fortunately, my head didn't get too big. My head only got big once I went to Northeastern, oddly enough. But like in school, I just like always thought of myself as like, not like I'm stupid. There's way more smarter people out there, which like that's a fact, and there is.
Sure.
I'm not that smart, but I was smart enough and smarter than I previously thought when I was like 18. So it kind of just changed my own mindset of who I am, and like it put me in a new framework where I could operate as opposed to like operating with my hands tied behind my back as like a stupid jock type kid. Yeah.
I think I can relate to you in that aspect. Like, I was the student in high school that, low end grades, C's and D's, at best. And then had not even a thought of actually going to college, and just I found fitness at 20. But what turned into me, it was just, and similar to you, is like I always thought of myself never something special or very smart or things like that. But through doing it, once you kind of find the interest of something that you have, you at least become more passionate about it.
Yeah.
And that was what kind of built some confidence for me. And then it took years before I even went to college and did associates because I couldn't get into Springfield. Like you were saying, you didn't know if you were going to get in. I needed to get like really good grades just to bring a GPA up to be reasonable, and then got in. So it was and it all worked out from there for the most part. But when you said you went to Northeastern, you said your ego blew up.
Yeah.
What was it? The type
blew up. It just like, I don't know. Like I never have thought that I'm special because like the fact is like I'm not. Because when you compare yourself to like an Elon Musk, it's like, dude, I think
all
I'm
very weak little people.
like I think I'm an idiot. Like
we are kind of in a way.
So like that's I try to keep that mindset, and like I'm also like very grateful for being born in this country and being born in New Hampshire and like having the school system that I did. Because I accrued a lot of knowledge,
sure.
Whether the fact that I actually recognize that is a little bit different. But once I got to Northeastern, Springfield's a lot of things, some of which are negative, but one thing that it is, especially with our program, is that it's really, really good. Yeah. And it gives you, maybe not the curriculum itself, but, you could if you take like the right classes. Like I took cell physiology and like that type of stuff,
right.
And that like gave me like a very, very deep knowledge of what's going on in the body, but it gives you access to people who are incredibly smart, like Dr. Thompson. Not that I like talk to him all that much, but he's obviously like nationally recognized in the strength conditioning community. Dr. O'Neill, like not for nothing, she's a smart lady. Dr. KO, her and I clicked very well, and she's super smart. Dr. Headley is very smart in his kind of clinical aspect. So Springfield gives you access to these people. And Dr. Pallone, right. I didn't really seek him out all that much because he was kind of
he's more to himself.
Yeah,
for sure.
A little bit. Like maybe if we caught him like a decade ago, it'd be a different story. But no, it gives you access to these people where you can kind of exploit it. And I tried to, like at every turn that I could. And fortunately, we went to school with some like really, really smart kids.
Right.
So like Andy is like one kid who comes to mind.
Like genius-esque.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's almost like a savant with certain things because he like super smart at one thing, and then on like the flip side of it, he just like I think he just neglects other things.
Right.
Which is fine, and like it's good, and he's obviously super proficient at what he does, and he's super smart. So, but having access to these people gives you this like huge knowledge base, and it gives you kind of it like doesn't open doors. It literally just shows that there's no doors to open.
Right.
Those doors are just figments. It's like the world is crazy in the world of strength conditioning, physical therapy.
Sure.
And then when you go to a regimented program like Northeastern, as good as it is, and it's very competitive to get in, the kids there, almost none of them has strength backgrounds. They're almost exclusively the kind of accelerated program kids. So they take like a lot of bio classes, or they are bio or chem kids. I really only clicked with about like 5 kids there who pushed the boundary of what generic medical model PT is. But unfortunately the curriculum didn't really call for it, at least in like the time that I was there. And it also
How long were you there?
I was there for 6 months.
Okay.
And it wasn't this is kind of tough to explain to people, but it wasn't challenging. Like I didn't have to put a lot of time in. And
gotcha.
And it was like, this shouldn't be the way that it is, because especially I have friends who went to either like MD or DO medical school, and it's like, at a lot of them, they don't even give grades because it's that hard. And
really?
Like, and it'll literally crush you, because all these kids are 4.0 kids, and then you're going into a school and you're getting the equivalent of C's, so they literally do you pass-fail. Because
gotcha.
So you're like, oh, I passed. It's like they're never going to tell you that you got like a 68 or something like that, or a 70 in that case. So, and it was just like, I'm not getting challenged enough. I think I got to move on, was kind of my thing.
And that's kind of what you're doing now.
Yeah. And this is, like business, period, is challenging.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm not super competent with yet. And I add the yet because obviously I'm planning on getting better, yeah.
Right. Well, going back to like Springfield, it's like, I mean, was that like a choice? Was that your first choice, your only choice? Was that, because like I agree 100%. Like I think that was the only school I actually even applied to. The other simple being, if I wanted to be in the strength conditioning or personal training or coaching industry at all, like I knew the value that it held, and everyone spoke highly of it for me. But like
Springfield?
yeah, like everyone just spoke highly. And when I was at BCC, there was an alum that worked there as like a fitness coordinator, so just oversee the fitness center. But he spoke so highly, and I didn't really understand, I guess, the value. And I agree 100%. Like from an educational standpoint, if you took it serious, you could learn a good amount. But at the same time, like I felt like the value really for Springfield was like the connections, the phone calls. You know, you're around really smart people who can introduce you to smart people. Like, so if you can reach out to those people, you can learn a lot. But at the same time, if you didn't take advantage of the opportunities from an educational standpoint, like you could learn some, but you kind of get stuck in this, you know, where you come out with a degree, but how much do you actually know? And did you actually have the phone calls and connections now and go to those big places, you know, Olympic Training Center, go to D1 schools, pro level, or, you know, just big box gyms that are like an Equinox type setting, or just connections that you can get necessarily that I've never heard of a lot of the places until I came here. Yeah. And that was like why I, you know, decided to go here. Yeah. And I don't know if that was more or less yours.
That could be said about like a lot of places. Like I said, like I literally came here because I was like, I like lifting weight.
Yeah. You were like the bro at first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Total bro, just like
I don't know about a bro.
I was definitely more of a bro.
You were 1,000% a bro.
Yeah, I mean I competed in bodybuilding, you know, mirrors were my friend. I liked you know, and
mirrors have never been my friend. They're still
so you're more of an educate. So I like to call myself now an educated meathead. That's what I like to consider myself because there's still the bro in me, but I feel like I can hold my own now. Where before it was definitely like I just like to lift weights and build muscle and eat food, and you know there wasn't much science to it.
I just referred myself as like a guy.
You were the guy. You're the guy. No, that's funny though. So we want to kind of summed you up all the way through. You went through from Springfield College Northeastern, and you've kind of taken a step in a different direction now. And after leaving Northeastern, so obviously you came out with your product.
Yep.
So if you want to talk a little about kind of you talked about Northeastern being not kind of what you expected to an extent, it didn't challenge you, and that was mostly the reason for, you know, going a different direction. But can you talk about that transition from leaving there and then kind of now with what you're doing?
Yeah. So one thing, just to kind of caveat my opinions on Northeastern.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I got distracted with the company. So and my product and trying to develop it and all that type of stuff. So maybe my issue with school, I definitely have an issue with the medical system in the United States, but I think that like literally everyone could say that.
I'm on the same page with you on that one, 100%.
And we don't need to get into that really, but I guess I didn't exploit the people at my disposal at Northeastern, because obviously Northeastern has like exponentially more money. It has incredibly successful and well accoladed people, even in the DPT department, that I definitely didn't take advantage of, or at least to the full extent.
And that was because this, you know, your mind was transitioning to a different point.
Yeah, I think that I was just, I was like upset with how life was kind of going, and like, I didn't really like the situation, I guess. Right. Which I haven't really talked about with anyone. But I hate Massachusetts so much.
Why do you hate Mass?
Just a slew of reasons.
Okay.
And I don't like busyness. I like to just kind of like be by myself most of the time, and being in kind of a populated city with like a lot of commotion going on like isn't conducive to my personality and to the way that I function at like a higher level. And like I said, I didn't take advantage of the people at my disposal. I was busy with this, which obviously like this kind of I was passionate about something again, because I had 6 months off. So I graduated Springfield in May 2017, and I didn't start until January of 2018. So I had all this time off, and it's like I just got like a run-of-the-mill job because I needed to make money. And then I had this idea, and I wasn't sure if it was really anything. And like, I mean, you can attest to this. Most people could attest to this. It's like you have an idea, you're like, that's a really great idea. I should do that, and then you don't do shit.
Right.
I've done that.
Well, it's overwhelming.
I mean, well, it's crazy, and you're like,
is it realistic? Everyone will ask me, is it realistic? Like, is it a realistic goal? Because most people don't like. I think we think alike in a lot of ways, and I think we think, you know, there's a lot of potential big picture where a lot of people think, you know, I'm going to get my 9 to 5, I'm going to work and get my pension plan and get a job and be happy. And if you're truly happy like that, that's awesome. I'm pumped for you. But the majority of people just fall into that realm and leave kind of all their things that they'd love to try down another path.
Yeah.
And I think...
Well, because it just seems so... it seems like a mountain you can't climb.
Right.
Just because you don't really know. And it's easier to think that you have a good idea than actually, like, pursue it. And I'm not, countless times I've done that. Like, even when... I remember I had an idea when I was 10 years old. It was when iPods, like, just came out. And I designed this thing where it's like you put in your earbuds, the auxiliary cord.
Yeah.
And what I did, I cut the wire, and then what I did, I attached the two buds right on like the wire part, so it was just like a little mini speaker.
Interesting.
And I was like, oh, you could just like do this, and then like you can enjoy it with your friends.
Right.
And it's like you could just make like a little mini bar thing on the bottom. And it's like,
that's pretty wild.
That's dumb. Like, I'm not going to do that. My dad helped me build it. And then I was like, no, like, this is stupid. No, nobody's going to want that. Like, there's just speakers that you could use. And then literally not, but like 18 months later, something like that came out.
It's so funny how that works, though.
Yeah, but that was me just being like...
That's just you as who you are.
Yeah, and the thing is like, I took that idea for a single day and came up with a really shitty prototype. One person had the exact same idea and actually followed through with it. That's why I like to think, like... I forget who said it, but there's no real, like, people who do special things aren't necessarily special. They're just willing to actually do them.
Right. Like, you're willing to kind of, like, I always say it like this. I'm like, you're willing to eat shit longer than the next person. You're willing to go through those, like, downs, and then, and where most of the people stop because, they feel like, more of being scared is going to work. And then you get, like, society, the negative view of, like, dude, you're wasting your time. Like, you were just at Northeastern. Why are you're dropping out to do this? Like, what are you doing?
Dude, the amount of conversations.
The amount of hate you're going to take, and, like, you're ruining your life. You're giving up the opportunity. But, like what you're going to hold a life that you necessarily want, and then you have to live with, like, I could have done or what could have happened? Like, I mean, I think there's too many people have that problem now. And it's a societal thing.
Dude, like, I have that problem still.
I do, too.
Like,
but I think you're overcoming it. Like, you're getting better.
Slowly but surely.
You are.
Well, before we record, we were talking. You're like, oh, how hard is it to do Instagram stuff? I hate putting myself out there. I don't mind doing the podcast stuff. Yeah. Because it's like, I just like to have conversations. No, I just like don't like. Like I said, I like to be to myself. Like, I'm very, definitely not as much as I used to be, but like I'm a very, very private person. Where it's like I'll only like disclose information that I want disclosed. Where it's like there's I wouldn't say that I definitely don't have multiple personalities, but I definitely tone back my personality with certain people. But like, again, everyone does that. Yeah. It's just like, I don't like people to know too much.
What do you think that is?
I have no idea.
Just who you are? Kind of like how it's
always been?
Like,
I always just think like nobody really gives a shit. Because like in most cases, like I really don't give a shit.
When people complain and talk about whatever, like anything in general, like, I mean, I forget who says it. It's kind of like when people are complaining is a waste of time and energy. Really, no one cares 99% of the time what you're saying. They'll listen to you, but if they're not your family or close friend, and most of your friends and maybe even your family doesn't care, but they want to be there for you. Yeah. So it's not.
See, I genuinely listen to other people. Complaining it depends on what they're complaining about.
Right.
Like, if you're complaining about traffic, I'm like, dude.
Right.
Do you know how much traffic?
Someone cut me off, bro. Yeah. Like 4 hours later, they're still complaining.
Yeah. Why are you letting that affect your life?
Right.
But if you're just like, there's a lot of people who I'll just talk to, and it's like you want to have a genuine connection with someone, and like, it's just a fact that people connect over sharing negative things, and then you giving them support, or vice versa. You know what I mean?
Well, 100%.
Yeah. So it's not. I don't know what it is. I just don't.
No, that's fine. So going like on that topic a little bit, going off back to the nutrition side a little bit, like we've had discussions in the past, like, I think that's the majority of our discussions are like either health, fitness, nutrition related. And like, so
you know, right? Talk about what you know.
That's it. That's what we do, right? So before we top into, I want to talk a good amount about your product and you bringing it in. We can talk about that, but I want to talk about before that, like kind of what led to the product, but also I want to like we've talked about like what does your current nutrition or diet look like? What do you when last time we talked, we were in Boston and you were doing a lot of fasting. You were getting ready for the big race we were talking about, and was
that before my race?
Yeah, you were
Wow,
before you
dude,
did your
that was so
50K,
long
dude.
ago.
Dude, it's wild.
Oh my
This is
God.
when you were ready. Like you were gonna do like a marathon, and then you're like, dude, I'm gonna do a 50K with 12-week notice or something. And I'm like, oh my God. And I think you weighed like 220.
Yeah, dude, I was a big boy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still a big boy. I actually weighed less than I do right now.
Oh really? Yeah. So it was a while back now that like last time we actually had a sit down conversation, but we've texted here and there, but not like we've had probably an hour and a half, 2 hour conversation. So just kind of I guess it helps because I want to just give people idea of what your nutritional habits are, like your beliefs a little bit, kind of what you do, and then kind of what led you to the product a little bit more.
Sure. So
I know it's a broad topic.
Ever since I started at Springfield, so the first diet I ever did was I was 16 because I was an overweight kid and like fat overweight, but I was always like athletic, so I never was like too fat, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But I just didn't like it, and I didn't like my self body image and stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna diet, and I literally ate every morning. I would get up. My mother, the sweet woman that she is, would make me egg whites with a ton of pepper on them, and then I would have a single like sausage link or a piece of bacon, and then 3 days a week I would have like a piece of toast with no butter on it, just plain.
Yep.
And then I would have fruit or celery sticks with peanut butter in them and no chocolate chips, and an apple for lunch, and then I would just have a regular dinner like with my family, and I tried to get like the colorful plate type of thing.
The typical standard what you're supposed to diet.
Exactly.
Right.
And then there was a 2-week period at the end of that, and I remember this because we used to have carbo nights.
Just load carbohydrates.
Yeah, dude, and they were the best. Especially like there were certain houses that you would go to, and you just knew you were gonna get cheesy garlic bread and stuff.
Right.
But I would go to them, and I literally ate nothing but fruit.
Really?
Yeah, like because I think that I heard like Steve Jobs was like a fruitarian or something. I was just an idiot.
Yeah. How old are you?
I was 16.
Okay, so you were young.
So I went from like 224, 222 maybe, down to like 170.
Okay.
And I was lean. I like had abs, which is like I don't know where the hell they went.
Sorry, they're there. They're just in hiding, hibernating.
Yeah, it's cold,
Right.
You gotta get the layer of blubber on there.
Right. Like Wim Hof.
Yeah, exactly.
Wim Hof.
Exactly. Yeah, my brown adipose tissue.
There you go.
So I did that, and then I kind of that's when I really got into lifting, and I was like, oh, I like lifting heavy shit. So like my junior and senior year, I just started lifting really heavy, even on like game days for like lacrosse
for high
and
school.
stuff. Yeah, for high school. So, and my diet was much more kind of regulated. It was kind of surrounded about like having protein shakes, having a lot of meat, having a lot of rice, almost like a pseudo bodybuilder diet. And then as soon as I got to school, Davidson's like keto.
So was
like,
Wood.
Yeah,
Wood was super hard.
He
hates carbs. He thinks they're like the devil.
Yeah, no, he really does.
Right.
He like won't even let his like 10-year-old son.
You don't
have,
need
like,
glycogen. Glycogen's all right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you can make glycogen.
You can.
Without,
You have a glucose molecule come out of your fat cell. That, there's a lot of there's a lot that goes into it. But I'm on the same page. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was very like hardcore. Like like you said, he wouldn't even let his kids touch it. So it was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. So and I had to try it. So I tried it for 5 weeks. I got like the pea strips and stuff. And then everybody would like ask me about diets because obviously, well, like, when you're on a very regimented diet, people are like, oh, like what's the deal with dieting?
Right.
Like, how do you do it?
Or if you're
properly?
fit, anything like that.
Yeah, and it's
Strong,
like
fit.
most of the time, like I literally had no idea at the time. Like I was learning a little bit about ketones and all that type of stuff. But people would ask me and they're like, oh, what diet's best? And then I learned about like veganism. And I thought that it was so stupid. I have.
Do you still think it's stupid?
Yeah.
Me too. It drives me nuts. I've talked about it.
You can do it properly though.
Yo, I think my brother's a vegan, so this is the funny part. But he can't afford like organic or grass-fed beefs. Like he can't afford like all this stuff. Like so what he does, he's very like limited on financials, and he also.
Well, if he's eating beef, he ain't no vegan.
No, he doesn't. So he
Gotcha.
can't afford anything like that. And then that was initial. He's like, well, let's go into like try vegan. So he's like, I'm not gonna buy because he doesn't like how the animals are treated. He's a very like animalistic person. Like,
see, if you do it for that reason, I get it. There's a lot of counter arguments to it.
Right.
However, the humanitarian reason is like totally cool with me.
Right.
It's like you're a better person than I am.
I
nicer
eat a
person.
pound of ground, like 93.7 grass-fed ground beef every day. You know, like that's what I do.
Oh, dude, last night I had a bone-in ribeye.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Yeah. So like, I just don't. I think the biggest problem with that, to me, like, if you want to be a vegan, cool. Don't be like a cult-esque and push it on me. That's not that. That's the stuff that frustrates me.
Yeah.
Like,
But dude, like, I know, and you know, like, both of us at one point have been doing something and pushed on someone else.
sure.
So I get it. Like, because
I do.
when you're a vegan, that's like on your mind 24/7.
It's like
Because
CrossFit.
you're tired. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's a cultish
As
thing
good-
right now.
Yes, right now for the past
It's trending.
7 years.
Right.
It's
trending.
It's moved past the fat phase though.
Yeah.
For sure. Like
Yeah.
it's pot, and I love CrossFit. I'm now on record. I love. There's great things about it. It wasn't until Justin Miner turned me on to
Okay.
CrossFit. He's like, take the good parts out of it, leave the bad shit.
Right.
The bad shit is the guy who's like, hey, I want to take $3,000, get the CrossFit logo, put it on my gym, open up what do they call them, boxes,
Boxing,
and
yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So
Right, and then they target
go
the
do
average
WODs.
population, and they write a
Yeah.
WOD that's 100 push-ups, 100 pull-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 100 20,000 things that are core-based and no pull. It's still push-pull leg core. It's no balance, and they 60% of the people are walking out in a month like broken.
Yeah.
But like if you have a true
But
strength and
there's
conditioning
great
coach running
parts
it,
about it. Yeah.
exactly, yeah, and I think that's the coaching side.
Yeah,
Well,
like Dubin, like I've only really witnessed him coach around here, or CJ. It's like those are two really
CJ,
good coaches.
I haven't spoken to CJ in a while.
I haven't
Have you?
either.
No?
No.
What's
I
he
went,
doing? I know he coaches, but do you know where he coaches?
I
thought he was like a strength conditioning
still
coach.
at Boyles.
Is he at Boyles?
I think so.
Interesting.
Because he went and got his master's.
Didn't know that either.
Merrimack, yeah. So he's another wicked smart. So he's another one actually. I explored the shit out of CJ. So he's smart. He's
Yeah.
a weird guy.
He wouldn't.
I
See, when
love
you
him
talk
to
to him,
death,
you wouldn't
but he's-
think initially. Like if you just were like talking to him for a few minutes, I don't feel
Well,
like.
because he's a psychopath.
Right.
He's literally a psycho.
Right.
And
That's the best
he's-
way to explain it.
Yeah, but he's incredibly smart, and he's very I'm gonna mispronounce this. He's very kind of regimented with how he likes to learn things.
Gotcha.
Like he dives in, he takes out what's good. He does it how you're supposed to,
Okay.
and then he doesn't like to really push anything on anyone. He's like the anti-vegan
Right.
in that sense.
Right.
But
Vegan
if you
gains.
ask him, he'll tell you.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you can have a really good conversation with him. CJ's a good dude. He's another person who I leveraged his
it's someone
genius to get me smarter.
I'll have to reach out to at some point just to touch base because he's someone like said I could learn a lot from and just someone that be interesting to talk to, someone I haven't talked to in a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so that gives us a good at least background kind of on you a little bit, your interested side. So then we got your product.
Dude, I'm completely lost. We're going on so many tangents.
It's okay. We're very tangent based. That's what ravel us back in when you were going back. Initially, we asked you, your
the diet-
nutrition
my
side, your
diet's right
diet,
now.
16 years old.
So my diet right now.
Right.
I'll just finish that. So I tried almost everything. Like I went
Right.
vegan for a couple weeks just to try it. This is what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
See, I'm such an asshole where it's like when people try to push stuff on me, I'm like, I'm gonna learn everything about that, and then I can have a foot to argue with
I
you on.
100% agree.
Like I read the Bible because
Really? So
yeah.
okay, you did more than me.
Yeah.
I
Well,
was a Catholic.
I was like the asshole atheist when I was like 12 to 16, because like there was just one day we like went to church and I was like, this is dumb.
Right.
And
Right.
then people would come and they're like, no, like you can't say that, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, like I'm gonna go read the stories. And I was like, hey, isn't this like pretty screwed up on like page 212? And they're like, oh, I didn't know about that part. Like,
Most people don't know the Bible.
no, but I knew it like super well.
You were like a 12-year-old educated like every part of the Bible.
Yeah, so, and that's just how I like to operate. I've since turned around. Actually, Brendan O'Neill and I have had very good discussions on religion. And
So he's very religious,
now
or-
not, I wouldn't say he's very.
He's objective.
He's just, he just has a strong belief system
Gotcha.
in it, and he is religious. But I've since changed. I'm not the asshole atheist anymore. And I think that there's a lot of good that comes out of it, and now I'm just kind of...
You're open to have a discussion about
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
before you were just like, I'll prove you wrong.
Exactly.
Right.
So, and I did the same thing with like veganism. I was like, I'm going to be a vegan. I was like, this is really stupid, expensive, and it's hard
Seen
to
What
do.
the Health?
Blah, blah, blah. Yes.
Yeah. Did that drive you crazy?
Well,
Yeah. Well, the thing with me is like most of the sources are just vegans and doctors that are vegans, and the support was all like very one bias
And
sided.
the studies were like absolute
Curing
garbage.
cancer and like really like in a very like people walking out weeks later. Like my big thing was the not even necessarily the movie, but a lot of times most of these fad diets are this one keto, this like they all work. Like if you can go on any diet, they work to an extent, but it's like there's a give and take. Most of the time, anytime you go into if you're overweight and go into a caloric surplus, you lose weight and you get healthier. Right, so it's that's just simple facts.
Here's the one study that they pushed in that, because everybody says red meat is cancerous.
Right.
It's like I'm not going to say that it's not, because it is, and there's certain biomarkers that you can check that you can actually like kind of prove that. But and I'm going to mess up the cell names here, but the study that they said in it, they had two groups of mice. One of them they gave a 5% protein intake diet. One of them they gave a 20% protein intake diet. There was, I think, like 97 and 98 in each group. And then they tested them over like an 8-week period, or it could have been 12. Definitely double check on this, because I'm going back into like 4 years ago.
Right.
So they tested for onco cells. So I think that's maybe it's proto-onco genes, and then it turns into an oncogene, and then that turns into a cancerous cell.
Okay.
So, but here's kind of a little tidbit for everyone to know. You are creating cancerous cells all the time.
Sure.
And you are going through autophagy all the time with those cancerous cells, which is why you don't have a tumor, why you don't have cancer, but you're still making those cells. So what they did in these two groups, they tested the cancerous cells. In the 5% group, only like a handful of them had cancerous cells, whereas in the 20% protein intake group, there was like 50% had the cancerous cells. However, what they didn't tell you was that over 6 months, only 2 of the 5% protein genes or 5% protein intake mice lived, and 79, and I could be making these numbers up, but a great majority of the protein intake or the 20% protein intake group survived. So like, yeah, they had more cancer cells. Who cares? Because they didn't get cancer.
Right.
They lived. So.
Right.
Would you rather die without cancerous cells, or would you rather live with the potential of getting cancer X amount of years in the future?
Right. I'm on the same page. I mean, it makes.
But they don't
makes
tell
sense.
you that shit.
No,
you
well,
can
they don't
skew anything.
Anyone can create anything, and like anyone can create anything to make their point. At this point, there's so much information out there. But you just got to take everything. Like you watch one documentary, it's going to tell you this is the only way to live. You're going to watch a ketogenic diet, they're going to tell you this. Now the carnivore diet's getting more prevalent. People keep talking about the carnivore diet.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
I tried it.
Did you try it?
Yeah, I
How
tried
long?
it for 5 weeks.
How'd it go?
Great. I got friggin' ripped.
Yeah.
But then I started to feel shitty. So I liked it a lot, and I like the basis off of it, and it's worked well for famous people like Jordan Peterson. And
right.
Those
He
types
talks
of
about it a
people.
lot.
Yeah, but it literally cured. He is like
But he has a lot. Yeah, I was gonna say him and his daughter have an autoimmune disease. They took now they're taking it to the extremes, but to apply that to the average person, it's like they don't have the autoimmune diseases they have. So if you're allergic to everything, then you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But well,
Ben Greenfield put it perfectly. He's just like, I wouldn't say that it's the carnivore diet that's giving you all these benefits. He's like, I would say that it's the elimination that the carnivore diet provides that's giving you the benefits. So you're not eating shit, you're just eating one thing.
Yeah, which that makes complete sense. Because like you said, if that's the only thing that doesn't affect you, then and you get better at only eating it, then obviously it's everything else that you were eating that was the issue. Yeah. It's not just meat is the only way to live. It's for them that's the only thing that didn't affect their immune system.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
But now, the longest story now put short, I'm eating just a balanced diet, which sounds shitty, but it's like if there's bread in front of me, I'll have it because I want to have it. I just won't overindulge. I'll have red meat, I'll have fish, I'll have chicken, I'll have literally anything. Yeah. I'll put dressing on my salad because it tastes better, but sometimes I won't. I'll have rice, I'll have potatoes, I have cheese. I'm not restricting myself on anything. Sure. I'm just trying to cook things better. I'm trying to make everything as healthy as possible within maintaining a budget. And I just don't it feels weird to tell myself I can't have something when it's like I'm not training for anything.
Well, most people will binge if you eliminate something from psychologically, they're gonna binge hard.
I'll eat a whole pizza.
You can't have pasta and you're like, boom, you eat a box in a second and it's gone.
Yeah.
But no, are you still doing fasting at all, or no? Are you just
So I fast. I'm trying to do like a 24-hour fast once a week.
Okay.
I'm actually going for a water fast soon, probably like within 6 weeks. I'm going to try to go 4 days.
Have you heard of Impact Theory, Tom Bigelow at all? I brought it up a little bit earlier. So you know Quest Nutrition?
Yeah.
Quest Products? So he was one of the founders of it. So he has a podcast called Impact Theory, and he's done over 100 episodes now of having guests on.
Is he the dude like in the chairs? It's like kind of
two
a
chairs.
blue
Yeah.
backdrop.
It says Tom Bigelow. Yep,
I watched the YouTube videos. Of those.
He had, like we said, he had Wim Hof on it, like his podcast on Spotify and all of that. I listen to him a lot because the people he brings on are just experts at everything. Wim Hof being one of them, and Gary Vee, all these different guys that are just good at what they do. Or David Goggins was on it.
Goggins is crazy.
He's out of his mind. Like we talked about a little earlier, just truly out of his mind. But psychologically, like I have such a high respect for him because like I wish I could develop even half of the mentality he has because I feel like I would accomplish anything.
He's like, the way that I phrased it to somebody and incorporating Wim Hof in it, of course, because he's
your boy.
Yeah, he's my boy. There's like, because he's all about a mind. He's like, your mind is what does it. He's like, my body's nothing. He's like, my body's a vessel. My mind accomplishes everything that I do. A Buddhist monk or any sort of monk will think the same thing, which is why they do. And he talked about in his book these monks who will do a marathon every day. Yeah. Can't Hurt Me for those folks who care.
Good book.
These monks will do a marathon every day for 1,000 days, and they don't do it for any physical benefit. They do it for a mental benefit. But it's like a lot of these people will just meditate all the time. Goggins just does crazy shit.
Yeah.
And then in between, because both of them, it's like, I'm not going to be a monk. I'm never going to train to be a SEAL like David Goggins. I'm never going to run on broken legs. Yeah. Like, I'm never going to do what he does.
Oh, yeah.
Wim Hof, I believe, is in the middle because he does that crazy shit, like climbing up Everest in just a pair of shorts, running a marathon in Death Valley with no water, going under ice, being in an ice bath and not having his core temperature changing. But he also does the meditation stuff on it. He, to me, is like the perfect mix. Like, I'm still not going to be able to do everything that Wim Hof does, at least not in
yet.
The foreseeable future. But he just does it in such a way where it's like, he takes himself very seriously, but he likes to have a good time.
His dances on the mountain.
Yeah, he understands that it's like music, camaraderie, laughter, enjoying a beer with a buddy is like huge, and like that's huge mental health.
Right.
And then he likes the meditation stuff, but he doesn't go as far as living in a monastery, and he likes doing the crazy, insane stuff, but he doesn't go as far as, I'm going to run 800-mile races in the next 3 months,
right?
Like David Goggins does.
Right.
Like David Goggins is unattainable, right? At least for me. Like you can hit a level of him, like what you said, but he's just crazy. Wim Hof he makes everything he does doable. Oh, we got low battery.
No, we're good. We're good. So yeah, no, there's a little beep, low battery going on in the camera that we're videoing with. So, no, but with the Wim Hof side of it, like the one thing that I love about him, and it wasn't necessarily like, so I just like the way he approaches the entire side of like physical and mental health, where like it contradicts literally 100% of what we're taught. Like if you go to the doctors and they tell you A, B, C, and D, he's like, through basically breathing and nutrition and like all this mental mindset stuff, you just can basically fix almost anything. And it's wild from like, if he ever got cancer, God forbid, I feel like that man would cure it through breathing and mental.
He'll never get cancer.
No, he won't because he's on another level.
No.
But
he can eat as much protein and red meat.
all of it, all day. Most carcinogen protein ever. He'll like shut it down in his system. It's like not happening. But yeah. So since we got through that now, so let's talk in a little bit now and get into a big part of what you're doing now, and that's your product, Coffee Smart.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, so how, you told me about going out of Northeastern and getting into this. So I guess with the product now, like, you just launched it, I believe it was 2 days ago, yesterday?
Thursday.
So Thursday. So what's the steps now? Like what, can you tell them a little about the product, kind of what's in it, and kind of, people who should be using it and just kind of the direction that you're going with the product?
Yeah. So, who we thought of to take this is everybody.
Okay.
Which I know sounds shitty, and like you're supposed to pick a regular demographic. However, it's just there's a lot of elite products out there that are just for elite athletes, and they're kind of expensive. they're not always made with the right ingredients. They sometimes lie about the ingredients that's in there. We wanted to create a product that's just easy, convenient, tastes good, gives you the minimal effective dose on these 5 different things that we find important, and you're good to go.
Okay.
Pick it up, put it in your pocket, put it in your coffee, and you're off. You can even put it into water. It just makes like a hot chocolate type thing.
Okay.
At least this one, because this is our mocha flavor.
Yeah, and that, I mean, like I tried now, like when you first sip it, honestly, so, you know, we picked up a black coffee, about a medium Dunkin', and just black to put it in. First sip for me, like, so with Nate reaching out to me about the product, I was really interested initially out of the simple fact of, you know, and I'm sure he'll tap into a little bit, just kind of the ingredients and what they do. And, you know, the first thing is I'm used to drinking black, but the first taste, if you like chocolate at all, you'll get that chocolate, almost like a chocolate, hot chocolate flavor. And then it kind of tapers into a little bit a different of an aftertaste. But in general, easily for me, like knowing the benefits of it and what it has, I'm definitely like, I could easily drink this every morning. And my principle behind it is like, I don't know how you are, but like if I know something has benefits, like even if the taste isn't locked down, like I'll drink
it for so long.
Yeah,
well,
I'll just drink
that's
it.
the biggest thing, because
And
I
it
was
does
doing
taste good.
this every day, essentially for the past 3 years. I would take collagen, I'd put it in. I would take a little bit of vitamin C.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, I'd put it in my. Well, you probably saw me with a friggin'
You-
sandwich bag.
Well, you had when we met, or not when we met for that couple hours in Boston. Like you had your thermos, and you know you were like you had it with you, like you said, and you're putting collagen and all
Yeah.
the things into it just to have.
Dude, it's a pain in the ass. And like I know that a lot of people do it, and I know a lot of people do. Like I would use Onnit's MCT oil.
Yep.
Or use Quest's. They have a coconut oil powder. So I would like put all this different stuff in it, and I was like trying to measure it out, and I was like, this is so difficult. I was like, if anyone wants to make a bulletproof coffee, and they want to take a collagen supplement, and they want to also make it taste good, so you want to get electrolytes in there, and you now want to get other ingredients in there that you've been hearing about, like a monk fruit or something like that, it's tough to do. And
Right.
now you have to measure it out, you have to go research about how much you have to put in there, and all this different type of stuff, and it's not always going to taste good.
Right.
Like on its MCT oil, as good as it works, or brain octane oil by Bulletproof, as good as it is, it doesn't taste particularly good,
Sure.
and it only is MCT oil.
And you're doing it for the benefit, basically, only at
Yeah.
that point, really.
Yeah, and it's like I'm a firm believer in taking collagen. I think I have a lot of I have psoriasis, so I have skin issues.
Blow it up, folks.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Popular man.
uh,
But yeah, I think like with the product, like you're saying, like for me, it's like I've always tried to. The more research I've done on the nutritional side of it, when you're first getting up or coming out of a fast in the morning, like there's certain things that you want, and you don't want to just, you know, caffeine is fine, right? A certain amount of caffeine, alertness, focus, things like that. But having something that, you know, can have a lot more benefits and basically start the day in the right way, putting it into your system.
So for all the intermittent fasting folks, this obviously will break your fast because there's calories in it.
Sure.
That's going to happen. A lot of people say that if you take a pseudo breaking of a fast is drinking coffee, because they say that like it stimulates your liver to upregulate releasing glucose in your bloodstream and all that type of stuff. But if you're not an intermittent faster, or if you want to break your fast with something, this, I believe, is the best product that you can do for yourself. And it's just, it takes the thought out of it. And it makes everything taste good. Because a lot of people don't like drinking black coffee. And a lot of people want to get all these kind of...
taste.
Yeah. Well, also, like, I don't want to say certain... I don't want to give too much away about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
But no, I just wanted to make an easy, convenient product that has stuff in there that you want, some stuff that you didn't even know that you needed. So like a lot of people like to take collagen, like that's a new big thing, but a lot of collagen supplements don't come with vitamin C. Then the collagen
Right, because you need that.
You need vitamin C in order for collagen to become bioavailable for use of, if it actually does joint revitalization stuff, which I believe that it does, and the research shows that it does when you take it chronically. It definitely does skin rejuvenation.
You have beautiful skin.
I have the worst skin ever. That's the reason I take collagen.
There you go.
I have the worst
He built
skin
the
ever.
product for himself.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's what I did. I scratched my own itch. And then, so the MCT oil is in there. I got more saddies in there with ghee powder. We put the vitamin C in there. We put magnesium. Everything for like cellular health. Everything for prolonged energy, so you don't have to keep jacking yourself up on caffeine. everything. If you have a wonky joint or something like that, a wonky knee, or you want your skin to be rejuvenated more, this product will do that. It has natural anti-inflammatories and antioxidants, and comes in the form of monk fruit extract, cacao, cocoa, all that type of stuff. And then it has every single electrolyte under the sun other than bicarbonate.
That's all right. So everything, basically everything.
Basically everything.
So with the Coffee Smart, I know initially, I'm sure, I mean, I don't know, but my assumption is when you first get into it, you know, you have this great idea. We talked about how it's difficult to see it through, like in the past where you created the next iPod piece and didn't fall into place. But with this, what was like the biggest setback that, you know, maybe you didn't expect, or what was that overwhelming moment like, holy cow, this is a lot more than I thought? Was there a moment like that, or was it kind of the overall process?
So I went into it pretty, well, I'm a novice in this industry, obviously. So I went into it thinking it was like, oh, I can just like manufacture this myself. I can package it myself. I'll just buy a machine, blah, blah, blah. And then you learn how expensive everything gets. You learn that importing certain products, especially when it's a white powder, is very interesting. So quickly I learned that I had to use manufacturer. So, well, I should say I have a 50-50 partner, Ryan LaValle. And he does the business side. I'm kind of I make the product, he's the one who sells it.
Gotcha.
So quickly we realized that we had to use manufacturer. That's difficult because everybody has certain minimums, everything costs money. We were talking about it again before we were recording. If you come into the market with like a BCAA, it's really easy to do because you can just be like, hey, what's your set BCAAs? I just want to do a private label. So, and they'll give you their product, you give them a label, and then you're good to go. There's no second thought in it. You can manipulate it a little bit if you want. Ours, on the other hand, was I created this product. It's very specific. There's very specific amounts, and I need certain types of, like vitamin C, for example. We used an ester vitamin C because I wanted the coffee acidity to become more basic, so bring it closer to neutral. So people who have GI issues who drink coffee and they notice distress, this will help with that as well.
Calms it down.
Exactly.
Cool.
So we needed certain things. Dealing with manufacturers is not super fun. They add in bullshit, like, yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, in case you didn't see it, I noticed you didn't see it. So the Coffee Smart. We'll give you a link later. Check it out if you're interested. So at the end of the podcast. So.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that you liked it.
No, like like you said. I know you're like, so I know you're not hardcore, like you're never going to push someone like as a salesman guy, like as in like Jeff, oh, just because like I'm friends with you and be like, yo, like, you know, things like that. But in my honest opinion, like I said, like something, knowing what's in it and the benefits of it, the taste like is a good taste and it has like a chocolatey taste to it, has a little bit of an after like taste to it, but it's not enough to by any means to turn me off from drinking it, knowing what I'm drinking.
Yeah,
like,
and it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
I thoroughly agree. To some people, it's a little bit too sweet. To some people, it's not sweet enough.
Yeah,
to some people, it's a little chalky. To some people, it's smooth. Yeah.
And I guess like all you can do is take the feedback and see what you can do to make it as best as possible.
Yeah.
At this point, so
I've also set the standard like super high, which
you should.
Yeah, and it's like, granted, my standards definitely aren't as high as some other people's, but to me, they're incredibly high, and they're only going to get higher. So this to me is extremely good. But I know it can get better because I taste it better.
And if you want this to continue to get better in the business as a whole and the product, like you have to have that mindset. Yeah. Like if you're not always trying to improve something, like, you know, like the company's not growing, your business isn't growing, and, you know, you're not giving out, you know, a better product at all times.
Exactly.
You know?
Like this to me is already one of, if not the best tasting product on the market, but now I can just start competing with my own taste.
Sure.
And it's like, I've already made this better, so our next order is going to be better tasting.
Perfect. That's awesome. Yeah. And then maybe down the road, like you said, I don't know if you have different thoughts with flavors and things like that, or you want to keep it pretty...
We have 2 new flavors coming out.
So you have something already in the works.
Yep. In 3 to 4 months, we're going to have 2 new flavors coming out. There's going to be a hazelnut, and there's going to be an original, which is kind of funny because it's going to be our second flavor.
Is it like a vanilla cream or something like that?
No flavor. It's just going to be
it's just like a plain one. Interesting. Yep. Okay, that'll be interesting. The hazelnut got me because I mean, like I don't drink a lot. Like if I'll get like an organic, you know, hazelnut coffee and things like that, but that one will be interesting. So what's the plan? So we kind of went over a little bit, but plan moving forward with this, it's kind of...
Plan moving forward with it. Right now we are purposefully going very slow. Yep. Because I want to figure out, work out the kinks with everything. So like the flavor profile, the website, I'm the least tech savvy person I've ever come across, and I built a website.
Look at you.
Yeah, so I'm trying to kind of, but dude, the second after it launched, somebody was like, "Hey, FYI, like, go fix this," and I'm like, "Crap."
See, I finished it. We're done.
Nice.
So it's
perfect.
good. Yeah,
you actually did like it.
I
He's
did.
not blowing smoke.
No, we got it's empty. So
we're trying to work the kinks out. We're trying to kind of get everything a very strong, sturdy foundation. So when we go to scale, we have the money to do it. So we're slowly accruing money from just selling it nice and slow. We don't have a lot of money put in right now. But when you want to go do a huge order, obviously you need capital to do that. So we're building up capital. We're building up awareness of what we're doing really well and what we're doing poorly, so we can exploit what we're doing really well with people. Right now, that's taste, and obviously this works. Like, it just does. Like, I don't know how you're feeling, but whenever I take it, or whenever anyone else takes it, you notice kind of a cognitive boost, and you notice just like almost like a full body kind of like alertness. Sure. Like, you're just ready to do whatever it is. If you're doing work, gonna go work out.
So like for someone, I mean, that's the perfect thing I was thinking of too. So like, say you're stuck on the fly and you can't, you're at work, you're in a meeting, you can't have like a meal or something like that, something like this, just to like
It'll
hold you over.
By.
Exactly, like hold you over, but you're not just jacking yourself up on crazy amounts of caffeine. Like you said, putting a little caffeine with it, get a little bit of boost is great, but at the same time, you don't have to. No. So like, and it has everything you need to kind of get you by where, instead of grabbing for something that's sweet or just high sugary, you get the highs and lows, the crash, and this could be that snack or something just to, I mean, not calorically, but to get you by when you're in a pinch too.
Yeah.
So with the product, now I want to go off topic a tiny bit because I want to we talk this a lot of times in the podcast. I like to talk about the mix between the nutrition, fitness, business, different kinds of things like that. So I want to go back into kind of more the fitness side a little bit with you, and can kind of give an idea of some things that you've done, but something like we kind of almost done together, which was when you did the 50K race.
Yeah.
So I want to tap into that because I thought it was wild because when we talked, I was doing, for anyone who doesn't know myself that well, we talked in the past a little bit about, competitive bodybuilder, never powerlifted competitively, but that style of training, and I went to do like a half marathon. At the same time, I reached out to Nate, and he happened to be doing the same kind of concept, but doing trail running. Yeah. And you ended up going completely, in my eyes, I was like, holy crap, he's going off the deep end. Like, this is going to go wild, because he went from, I think you were doing a half at first, right? Or something like that?
I initially was going to sign up for a half, and then I extended it to an 18-mile race. And then my friend, he used a lot of different things, but Justin Miner, who owns Game
you brought up earlier, yeah.
He ran a 50-mile race the day that I ran my 50K race.
Right.
So he did an extra 20 miles.
Yeah. But for you, you're like, I'm going to go half, 2 marathon. Let's just throw another half on top of it, basically, and then I'm doing basically a 50K. Yeah. And how many weeks did you have? You just went all in.
I ended up, so I ended
up... You went Wim Hof and
totally, Goggins. So I ended up having just under 16 weeks to do it. Okay. Justin trained me for it. So he follows the power, speed, endurance
from
methodology, Brian McKenzie.
You introduced me to him.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He's great. And, it worked.
He had that neck injury. It was his neck, right? Broke his neck.
Yeah, he got wicked messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know it.
I forget what it was, because I was following him pretty closely on his Instagram when he was going through it. He posted all his, videos, but, he was riding a bike, I think he broke,
That's what it was. Yeah, he was biking.
Yeah, and then ended up somehow breaking a neck and disc-related, something along those lines.
He's good now, though. He's up, moving around. He's
a machine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's his whole shtick.
Yeah, literally. He somehow, I mean, the average person doesn't do what he does. Simple as that.
Yeah. And he's big into cold immersion and all that
he did a lot of that through it. Every day, that was the big thing for the healing process. And
he's big into breathing. He does he's the nasal breathing guy. And
it just proves it. I mean, you look at the people that do it. I mean, they're very good at what they do. In that, obviously, there's a lot of science and stuff that can back it up. But it's just it's just facts at this point. These people are doing it. There's more to the story. Yeah. And I think that's what more people have to get into now. Is it sounds funny. Let's go deep breathing and use huffing and puffing breathing techniques. But what it's actually doing to the body, if
it works, it works.
It works. Simple as that. So with the race, do you think that was the biggest physical achievement you ever had? Or in your head, because you've done couple different things. I remember when you finished, you're like, that was brutal. But like,
That was-
sure that was
yeah.
like the high when you were done. Like, holy shit, I did this.
See, that was a mental thing for me.
Yeah.
Because like everybody, like I just had a conversation the other day. Somebody's like, yeah, I could do a 50K race, and it's like, yeah, that's what I said. But like,
Trail run too. I mean, you're up hills,
didn't
down
believe it.
hills.
Yeah,
You're
so
hiking.
I think that there was like 5,000. There was less than 5,000 feet of gain, but you peak the mountain twice, and then it's like you go across the street, and there's like a bunch of lakes and ponds and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of just rolling hills from there on out. But yeah, it was definitely the most difficult thing that I've ever done.
Did you have a breaking point during it? Like where you were just like, I'm not going to finish? Or you mentally felt like you were there?
I think everyone goes through something like that.
Right.
Because I was just like, mine was never I wasn't going to finish. I knew that I was going to finish because like you train for 16 weeks or whatever it was, and then you're actually doing it and you're already like 18 miles in or whatever. The one point that I had, it was at 11.2 miles because so you peak the mountain and then you go around the mountain and then you come back, peak the mountain again, come down before you go across the street. There's an aid station. So I like took salt, took a potato. I just mowed Skittles that entire day. And there was a guy who came down while I was sitting there. I took a couple minutes drinking water and stuff, and they give you electrolyte fluid. So I'm refilling all my water bottles. A guy comes down, absolutely mangled his arm because he fell.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why am I doing that?
Right.
I was like, this is just like, there's no trophy at the end. There's no, like, nobody's going to be like, hey, like, you did it. Here's $1 million. Like, it's just, you're doing it because you set your mind to go do it. And you're like, I just need to go do this thing.
And people don't understand that. Like, to the majority of society, like it's getting cool now. Everyone's doing like the Spartan races and like weekend warrior stuff. But like, I don't think. I mean, you know, people are. It's funny if you look at it this way, from a healthcare and medical standpoint. Everyone is like trying to be sick and do less. Like, you know, like doing everything to prevent being sick and injured and physically ill at all times. And then we go do races on the weekend that you're putting yourself. We're paying to be suffering and struggling
exactly.
and completely being destroyed.
I spent $100 to kill myself.
Yeah, exactly. And then like, but you know, the majority of people are like, don't have a clue why you're doing it. And like for me, it's always been, you know, competing in the bodybuilding. It's like, well, what do you win? What do you do? Oh, you win a race. What are you gonna do? How much money are you gonna make? Like, what's gonna come from it? And it's like, it's just it's for me. It's always been mental. It's always just been a mental thing of like, how do I physically push myself to a point that I don't think I could have went to, and just how to like improve myself, because I think there's such a mental standpoint of like, just conditioning. I take a thing. This is where I learned a lot from David Goggins because, you know, same thing as you. I'm never going to be David Goggins. But I ran a half marathon and broke. So like to run, you know, and that was like brutal.
Yeah.
And
he was like peeing blood.
Yeah.
And all that type of stuff.
You know, his motto is based off. He did the 100-mile race. For anyone who doesn't know, David Goggins. You know, long story short, you know, ex-military.
After Marcus Luttrell.
Yeah.
And Lone Survivor. After Marcus Luttrell's team passed away.
He was on.
Yeah, he wasn't on the team.
No, but
he was friends with Marcus Luttrell because he was actually on his. He like knew him from Hell Week and that type of stuff.
That's how it was. Yep.
I forget what they call it. It's like a hoorah class. So it's like after Marcus Luttrell graduated, David Goggins was Marcus Luttrell's hoorah class. So it's like you kind of put David Goggins' class through the ringer.
Yep.
So when he knew them, he was buddies with them, and then after the Lone Survivor story happened, Marcus Luttrell is another one who like drawing the line in the dirt. John Luke just brought this up to me last night when we went out for dinner, and he's like putting a line in the dirt. He's like, if I can get past that, I can keep going. And he made it, and then he drew another line. Did that for 3 miles. That is some mental
That's some crazy
fortitude
shit
right there.
Yeah.
But David Goggins was like, oh, I need to raise money for all these families. What can I do?
100-mile race.
100-mile race.
Well, and then initially the big goal was the bad water.
Bad water.
That's what it was. But it was just crazy because, like, you know, I think it was at mile 70 or mile 60. I forget what it was. Because he says, like, I don't know if it's 30% or 40%. Basically, when you think you're done, you still got 30 or 40% left. One of those.
40%.
40%. Because he was 60% done with the 100-mile race and physically just broke. I mean, he's peeing blood, shitting himself, like, complete mess. You know, like, he was on his deathbed, it looked like, at that point. Tried to walk a few laps, and then his wife at the time was like, you're not going to make it. And he got up and ran 40 miles to finish. And then after that, he still almost didn't get into bad water, but he did, and then so on and so forth. But his mental capacity and even taking some of that is just, I think if more people can even push themselves and live by that model a little bit, like, your body can do so much if your brain will let you, but your brain shuts it down early.
Yeah.
So
just to clarify, when I ran this race, it was not quick. It was probably very sad to watch. I did it very slow.
But you did it, man.
Yeah, but for me, it was a mental thing too. And it's like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that that was my 100%. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that that was easy.
Right.
But it definitely set, similar to my meeting with Headley, it just put me in a new framework where it's like, now I'm operating here where maybe I can hit 70% instead of 60%. And then it's like, maybe I do something else that's more difficult. And it's like, now I'm in a different framework.
Right.
And like, you kind of you just go through it very carefully, and you go through it very kind of just breaking down those walls,
right,
of just like, oh, and I'm not confined by my own physical limitations because those limitations that I had weren't real,
right,
and I can just move past them. And I learned, like, Justin, again, not to bring him up frequently, but he
had a big
he
impact
kinda
on
did,
you.
yeah, he did, like, a lot, and he was the one who kind of forced me, or not, didn't force me to do it, but it was just like, he just knows how to play me,
Right.
and I'm one of those guys where it's like, oh, you couldn't do it. I'm like,
All right, bro.
I'm gonna go.
Here
do
we
it.
go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do it.
Right.
But he kind of did the same thing, and he's just like, he was a hockey player. He lifted, and then he randomly got into trail running, and then 2 years later he's running a 50-mile race, and now he's planning to do a 100-mile race within the year.
It's wild.
Yeah, so he's now in a different framework. His 60% could be 70 miles.
Right.
But now he wants to break past that, find a new 80%, which could be 100 miles.
Yeah.
And it's like, he could go further. Like, I was thinking about just this the other day. I could have gone further.
Right.
If you told me I had to go further, I could have gone.